Imagine taking a trip into nature, a break from the tediousness of everyday urban life. Sounds great, right? But what happens when that venture into the trees turns into a fight for your life? According to John Billman, a writer for Outsider Online, in an article accessed on the 6th of May, 1,600 people go missing on public lands annually. The most commonly visited and also the most treacherous of these lands being that of Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. My team of experts and I have dedicated countless hours of research on this national park and have made the trek to Yellowstone to put our expertise to the ultimate test. Although the sights and sounds of Yellowstone National Park seem to be serene and pure, all it takes is a single miscalculation of location for a tourist to enter a fight for their life. On this week's episode of Stranded, my team of dedicated experts and I are going to show you what it takes to brave the harsh Yellowstone terrain and make it out without becoming yet another life lost to this alluring facade. And first, in any survival situation, it's always important to identify your surroundings. And for this, we have Luis, our regional expert, who is going to tell you a little bit about some important landmarks within Yellowstone National Park. Luis?
Thanks. We're going to start out with the Lewis Falls. Lewis Falls is one of the first waterfalls you will see during the entrance into the park. It is roughly located 9 miles inside Yellowstone South entrance. The falls are about 30 feet in height. Now we can move on to our next landmark, which is the Eagle Park. All right. It has an elevation of about 11,367 feet from top to bottom. Eagle Park is one of the highest points of Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone, this mountain was created by Yellowstone H, which is the time where it was a lot of intense volcanic activity. Around this area occurred about 56 to 43 million years ago. Now we can move on to our next landmark, which is the Yellowstone National Forest.
Let's go there.
On our left, we have the forest. It was named for the Shoshone Indians who live in this area. First, it is the first federal protected national forest in the U.S. and covers nearly 2,500 acres in the state of Wyoming. You don't need to buy a mule to enjoy this place. There's a lot of things to do. You can hunt, fish, camping, horseback riding, kayak mounting, biking, snowmobile, sailing, or some of the activities that can be enjoyed on the Shoshone.
Well, Luis, that's some very pertinent information regarding the landmarks of this year Yellowstone National Park. But another factor you have to consider when you're considering your own survival is that of weather. And for that, we have our expert meteorologist, Brandon, who's going to tell you a little bit about Yellowstone.
Hey, great to be with you today, Sean. You know, we have a beautiful, mild, sunny day in the middle of June today. On average, though, according to Yellowstone Climate and Weather, it doesn't get much higher than 70 to 80 degrees on average. The average day, you look about 70, 80 degrees. You might go up into the low 90s, but not very often. But since we are so high up in the altitude, you got to be prepared. You know, bring layers because the weather could change fast and very dangerous. 1 minute it could be sunny like this, the next weather it could be pouring rain and a thunderstorm.
Thunder! Thunder!
You got to just be ready for that. And as I said, since we're in the higher altitude, even though we're in the middle of summer, it can start to snow. You know, it's not very common that it snows in the middle of summer, but it can, and especially at night, because during the night it could fall below 40 degrees for you. So you just want to make sure you have a few layers and make sure to bring an extra pair of socks, because otherwise you might be stuck out here. But you got to remember, through all this rain and weather though, it brings some of the greatest moments. You get some great sunsets and some of the most amazing rainbows you'll ever see out here. So.
Well, I'm going to be honest, Brandon. That was a lot of good information regarding the weather in Yellowstone National Park, but kind of cold, kind of need some shelter and a nice fire. And for that, we're going to pass it over to Brad, our primitive survival expert.
Yeah. So let's run over here to our pre-made teepee. So this right here is your standard North Native American teepee. It is made with branches that are tied together in the top. And most often, as the Native Americans used, they would put animal skin that was been dried out after they hunted the animals and use that as the wrapping, but we didn't have access to this. So this is made with leafy branches and stuff like that. So it just provides insulation to the outside, weather stays outside and your warmth can stay inside. So according to the user, Missouri villain in his article, 7 Methods of Primitive Fire Starting, written in 2012, Access May 5th, 2019. There are hundreds of ways to start fires in the wild, but the most widely used methods are the fire drill and the fire cloth. So right here, wood. That is the first step in building fire in the wilderness. The first way I will show you is the fire drill. So what it is, if I can get you to hold it right there, all you do is you take a smaller piece of wood to a bigger piece of wood, stab it, and spin it until fire happens. Smoke, fire, embers, stuff like that. The second way is called the fire cloth. And that is kind of the same way, but kind of not drilling. So all you do is you take a bigger piece of wood, lay it on the ground, have someone else hold it. Unless you're by yourself, then you're kind of screwed. Then you take a smaller piece of wood, drive it into the wood, rub it back and forth like this until bam, fire again. So again, fire is your second most important thing to worry about after shelter. But your most useful tool when stuck in the wilderness is a sharp blade. And unfortunately, I had to leave mine at the other airport because it wouldn't let me fly. So,
Well, that's some really nice information to have about primitive survival expertise. Very good knowledge to have pertaining to starting a fire and shelter. But that being said, all that work we just did, man, I'm getting hungry. So Austin here, our animal and hunting expert, he's going to tell you a little bit more about what kind of animals you can find here in Yellowstone National Park.
So, Yellowstone National Park is home to many distinct animals, such as the moose, bison, grizzly and black bears, rabbits, beavers, the great American bald eagle, great horned owl, elk, crane, fishes, and many more. There are many animals that you can hunt for to provide food for you and your group. Elk, moose, sheep, rabbits, and deer are some of the most common, as well as fishing. So you would hunt for the large animals with net traps, and then eventually spear them down once they're trapped and everything. And for small animals, you would use spears or fishing out of natural wood logs, such as our team is doing right now, fishing in the lake over here. According to Jane Clark in her article, The Wild Huckleberries of Yellowstone, that I accessed on May 5th, 2019, Yellowstone is home to the huckleberries, round dark purple berries that you can find in nature and eat for nutrients. However, there still are many dangerous animals to avoid, such as grizzly bears, black bears, coyotes, and bison, who are docile but have been known to attack. Luis, it looks like you caught something.
Oh, yeah, I think you got it.
That's
another shoe.
Just the shoe.
All right, well, on that note, Austin, that was some really nice information. I'm sure if we had more time, we would be able to catch something other than a fish, other than a shoe, maybe something like a fish. But that's all the time we have for today on this week's episode of Stranded. So now, with your newfound knowledge pertaining to the park's geography, climate, options for shelter, and some reliable food sources, you, the audience, should be able to avoid becoming a victim of Yellowstone's allure. Now, guys, it's time to make our way back to civilization. Brad, you got the map?
I got the map. Here you go.
Why does this say Yosemite? Oh, you got it.
Alright, hold on. We can make this work. Just give me a second. We can make it work. We can. Oh, sorry.